is towards patriarchy and matriarchy. So what that statement means is that if you do nothing, you end up like your father and your mother. If you sleep and wake up, and sleep and wake up, and you will even suffer from the same diseases they suffered from. So if your father is hypertensive, your mother, that's double risk. You're sure getting it, and early too. 3 days ago, I got into the bathroom and got out a minute or less, and I remember that my father is exactly like that. My dad will tell you he's going to bed, and you're seeing him and you're wondering you didn't go again. Tell you he's done. And I've caught myself a couple of times doing things that I know that these are pure character. These are things that this is my father, literally. And it applies across the board. So it's the same principle in physics, where motion will not stop until an external force is applied. Motion will not start until an external force is applied. If we keep going, again, you're waking up, you don't decide, waking up and going to bed and waking up is not so much your decision to make. It's a biological clock set by God that's just running, just like growth. Growth happens regardless. People grow whether they have poor or they are rich. People grow whether they eat or even don't eat. They may lose some features, slim down, but they will grow. But making meaning out of your life, especially when you did not grow up with leverage, is now something you need an external help with. The default, the biological clock you're operating is coming back to become like your father. It's coming back. You see it now sometimes in lineages where a child is born out of wedlock and she gets pregnant out of wedlock and her child gets pregnant, and you see it like that 1, 2, 3, 4, the same thing, and it happens all the time. It's not uncommon. It's just that it happens with other little things that we don't pay attention to as much as something like giving birth to a child out of wedlock. Those ones are more celebrated, in quotes. They are more talked about, And I like to bring these types of conversations back to something like wealth and making meaning out of life and success and whatever, those types of things. We want to talk about those types of things. My father, I know what my father's financial situation is. My mother's financial situation. I know what my parents, I know where my parents are financially. And I can already see the trajectories. That's where I'm going to. It's the default differentiation. It's the default. That's what is going to happen if I don't do nothing about it. I'll have to generate a counter force to go against this default. And that counter force will look, feel, and smell like force. It will be very different. So I'm thinking out loud for you to also hear me. I know that it's completely normal for you to look, sound, behave abnormal. You're generating energy that's for use, for something different from what every other person is doing. Just in case the people around you are running the routine. Are you following what I'm saying? If you do nothing, you will grow. If you do nothing, day, then night, then day, then night, then day, then night. So the clock keeps ticking, doesn't stop ticking. Whether you are aware or not aware, it keeps happening. Action and time is what makes time meaningful. But even action and time, if it does not contain enough force, if it is sleep and go to eat, have your bath, just regular, living the regular, doing what you can do, I'm just calling your attention. I don't know you personally. I don't know your parents. But if you, a couple of times, you caught yourself behaving like your father, you know, that's the material you are made of. And that's the material you were bred in. That's the material you were. What's the word? I'm looking for the word. There's a word for it. There's a word I'm looking for. You know, it's a stronger word than training. Programming, something like programming. The mental program that you're running is the one from your household. From age 0 to age 7, you are recording information. Even before you could speak, you are recording information. That is why you see a child born now, and the child will pick up language. An adult will be in a space. You change, let's say you go to China. I don't know where you're listening to me from. You go to China today, you don't know how to speak Chinese, and you're interested in learning it. A child that was born the same time he came to China will speak the language better than you. For 2 reasons. The first one is that child records the language plus everything happening in the environment. Record them. You are learning. So you're listening to the thing, trying to make sense out of it, and now taking it in. And of course, the programs are in your head already. Some of them are also fighting what you're listening to, and you're having that battle. But a child the brain is on better theta mode. Theta. So it's recording. It's just rolling, taking all the information in like that. You know, but it doesn't work just for language. It works for life. If you are bred in a poor environment, the program that you have recorded from when you were 0 to 7 will keep you poor. The reason why your environment was poor is in that environment. The reason is there, you know, and your mind took note of it without your permission. So you are mentally programmed to be poor. You know, and the program is a program it runs, whether you are aware of it or not. It's there, it's rolling. It's rolling. You know. So if you're dealing with brainwash, something as strong as brainwash, mind control, those types of things, you're going to need a much stronger force. And not just a strong force, you need a strong, but one more thing, consistent force. That's the second thing. Because you're dealing with something that's chronic. Chronic means always recurring. So if you're dealing with something that's recurring, you need a counter-recurring energy, you know, to completely replace this other one. So you need good quality friends. You need good quality action. You need, when they say consistency, discipline, those things appear difficult, they feel difficult, they are difficult, but they are not if you're in the environment. If you wake up in the morning and you have men who are doing push-ups, you know, every morning around you, after a week, doing push-ups is not, you don't need discipline to do push-ups. You just do push-ups. You know, that's what I mean. So discipline means don't eat sugar. And there's no sugar in your environment. For example, this is not available. You just not eat it, it's not available. So the other person who has sugar around them will need discipline to not eat sugar. You not eat it because you don't have it. So you can set up something that is strong and that has to be there all the time. It's called the environment. It's called what people even call peer pressure. It's also environment. You know, so you want a force strong enough, but also a force present enough. Present enough. It has to be in front of you every time. Otherwise, you slip back into the default program and self-sabotage. Are you hearing what I'm saying? The default differentiation is towards patriarchy and matriarchy. If you do nothing, you end up like your father. Exactly like your father, health-wise. Exactly like your father, financially. Exactly like your father, relationally. So if you are raised in a home where there's no mother, the chances that you will not be with your wife when your children are around will be there. You end up like your father financially. You end up, yes, if you do nothing. And the action that's required is not something that should exist in bursts of motivation. You feel good, you feel high today. You can't do something you're supposed to do, and that's it. When the feeling goes away, you go, You want motivation, but you want it every day. You want it 2 times a day. Every single day. You want it 3 times a day. You want to put it in front of you all the time. So figure it out. Figure something out for yourself. Otherwise, default, you're rolling right into what your father was. In every regard.